videos. Right, so it's a slightly rainy Sunday. You'll notice our video's a bit late. That's because I'm doing it this afternoon. So just a few things. So today we are off to Colin the Bearded Explorer's, go and get his Mark 1 Golf GLi running. Because as you'll have seen if you watch his videos, he's just bought my Mercedes 190 off of me, parted with something. Now, one thing we do get is lots of people asking random questions. One that you probably you would have noticed if you watched all the videos, that we do updates. And in the nicest of ways, moaning. So, first one. Colin's plastic peg. Now, someone said, oh, it's just abandoned, they don't do anything to it. No. Right, if you watch the update, the engine for Colin's plastic pig is absolutely lost. It's worn out. It was worn out when it was parked. So the bottom end, the crank is basically, the shells are worn out. Now a 650 Robin Reliant engine, a Superfan 3 engine, is not worth the repairing. The cost of having it all rebuilt and buying the expensive bits, so it wants 4 pistons, set of shells, probably an oil pump, gasket set's the cheapest, all the valves doing, and put them back in. Now, that's not going to be a 5-minuter. The pistons are mind-bendingly expensive because no one keeps them. And to be honest, everyone takes the 650 out and puts an 850 in. So the sensible idea would be, as I think I said before, to find an 850cc engine. So what you have to do is find one. So obviously, you can't just toddle off to your local breaker's yard and buy an 850 Robin Reliant engine, because they've all gone. So what you have to do, you are at the mercy of 2 things. One, your Facebook Marketplace or your eBay, and you buy one sat in a shed that a bloke said was good when they took it out for 400 quid and hope, keep your fingers crossed, hope it works. Or you work a bit more sensibly, like we have done, and spend some time, phone around your mates in the trade and people, scrap guys you know, and someone at some point, like we have done, will come up with one that's good. So a mate of mine, George, has got one that's good. He's had it running, it's been sat under his bench, it turns over, it's a pucker. He knows the mileage, and the car it came out of was damaged. So what we've got to wait for is George, because he don't live near here, or him to come past here, or me to go past there to pick it up, and then to refit it in that. Now, let's be honest, that thing has been sat in edge since 1986. So it's in no worse condition sat there than it was when it was dumped there in 86. It's not deteriorating, it's quite happy, and as soon as the engine turns up, we'll spend a load of time getting it sorted, because there's a few conversion bits you've got to do to get it fitted in. But the other thing that people, not to moan, might have to understand is that YouTube is like a sideline. It doesn't pay the bills. I mean, I know everyone thinks that we all make a fortune out of it. Now, last month, for an entire month's worth of YouTubing, I think I got 365 quid. So, that's 8 videos that take a day and a bit of editing to do. So, we charge like nearly 60 quid an hour. So I can stand here and fix that Fiat 500 at £60 an hour. Admittedly, I have done that Fiat 500. Give the people a bill, they'll pay it, we're done, and the bills get paid. Now, YouTube-wise, I can spend a day, let's say, day and a half. Bedford CF, she goes today on eBay. I spend a day and a half of my life getting that going, getting it back here, spend a load of money on it, get it alive. It's not mine, we sell it for the people. We get them out of edges, we get them going. And I think so far, that Bedford CF has earned me 60 quid, maybe 80. So, I know people are like, oh, well, you always... Yeah. Right, so, things you'd love to do. There's my Peugeot. Now, we did a load of stuff on my Peugeot. We have to get it back in to finish it. But, as soon as I bring it in, it's going to tie up a ramp for the best part of a week. Now, that means that none of the lads can use the ramp. So the ramp isn't earning 400, 500, 600 quid a day with a vehicle on it getting fixed out the door. It'll have a Peugeot sat on it. So when the time is possible, we'll get the Peugeot in. Because I want the Peugeot done, but it doesn't all happen at once. Because strangely enough, we're British. And that involves paying some fairly hefty bills. And I mean, as you'll see as we wander around here like this, this is the big Luton. We finally sold that last week, that's done sold. There's a Sprinter Riot bus just there. That's the next one on. Behind me is the Kangoo. So the Kangoo had, the last thing to be done via the paintwork is its rear CV boots. It's in the drive shaft CV boots. They're a nightmare to get hold of. I've got them, finally. But to put them in, I have to take the old back rig apart. So same again. Little Kangoo, which I'd like to have done, has to come in and sit on a ramp, which takes the ramp out of commission, because I've either got to abandon a day to video it and blah, 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 or try and work it around like quite a busy work schedule. So I know our stuff might be a bit busy. I'm just going to fly backwards round over there. But there's sort of a reason for it. And the reason for it would be that at the end of the day, we are actually commercial vehicle repairers with a lot of stuff, as you'll see. I mean, I've been meaning to go strimming for weeks. But it's a Sunday, and I'm driving to Portsmouth now to go and give Colin a hand, kick his golf into life so you can watch me do it, and YouTube can pay me 150 quid in 3 weeks' time or a month's time for the privilege of doing it. So just give us some slack. Possibly. I mean, if it paid completely for my life just to do this, believe me, I'd be doing it. A world without customers would be marvellous. But it's not going to happen. Well, it hasn't happened yet. So we're going to keep working at it. So as you'll see today, or yesterday, Colin's little video on that car went up. I've parted with something. He's bought the 190. That's good. That means the 190, he's only got he's got about 5 projects, but he's only got that to go straight back on the road. And that should be relatively sensible. And I mean, there's been 6 vehicles out of here this week. So that's 6 restoration projects gone, 6 bits and bobs. It's a busy, busy place. I mean, next week we've got to paint this. I've sold that. That's got to go. There's a Volvo sat there. There's a Ford Transit Connect round the corner. There's a Mercedes T1 sat here to have the whole back of the back body rebuilt. Well, they tore it out. There's a lot of work on. So I know people like to go, oh, you never do this stuff. We do. But obviously we have to run a life and a business anyway as well. So what I'm going to do now is stop waffling, get in my black Mercedes 4-wheel drive full of tools at 12 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and drive to Portsmouth and spend the rest of my day getting a Mark 1 Golf convertible going. It's not a clipper, it's an early one. There's one thing I'll show you about Colin's car that I don't think Colin knew when he bought it. But it is quite cool because it's a very, very early Golf GTI convertible. It's like a 1800 injection, but it's not a clipper. It shouldn't have all the wheel arch extensions and the junk and the white paint on it. Which probably makes it more interesting because there are loads of clippers. There aren't very many early convertibles. So I'm going to go and do that. You can join me. And please stop wenching about the fact that stuff takes time, because it does take time. And if you watched all the videos, and also the other one, the whole YouTube thing works on subscribers. So 73% of the people that watch our videos on a regular basis are not subscribed. If you were, instead of YouTube paying me 40 quid for the privilege of a load of work, they might pay me 140 quid for the privilege. And I'm not begging for money in any way, shape or form, because to be honest, I can sit here and fix that bloody great lorry at £60 an hour and get paid for it. We don't get anywhere near that out of the YouTube thing. So, but if more people subscribed, the value would go up. We'd earn more out of it, thus you could get on it quicker, if that makes any sense. And yeah. Right, so here we go, Portsmouth. Right, Al, 6D diesels. Colin, the bearded explorer. So today, remember not to stick the microphone under your armpit because that won't help things, will it?
It won't smell very nice either.
No, it's not too bad. It's a bit hot, isn't it? So, Mark 1 Golf GLi convertible. Not been on the road since 1991. Probably not started for quite a while. Yes. And we're going to see if we can get it to go, because you bought it as a project, what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Must be 2 years ago,
yeah.
wasn't it? And we've had one quick look at it about 8 months ago, and then the fuel system was so bad that we've come up with a cunning plan for getting around that. So what we're going to do is check through a few things, and then see if we can get it cracked off. Right. So start off cunning plan. Blow tyres up, get it out of here, because what we've got to get to, I'm pretty sure that underneath the back corner of this car is the high pressure electric fuel pump, because this basically has got K-tronic injection on it, hasn't it?
It has.
Yes. So we know the tank's all full of nastiness, don't we? Because we looked in there last year. So we're going to avoid the tank completely, blow the tyres up, wheel it out, jack it up, see if we can get to the fuel pump, and then either replace the fuel pump with an external one with some fuel, or try and plumb into it to a can, because I don't think the tank, until it comes out, there's nothing to be done.
The tank is absolutely
minging
dead.
in it, dead, yeah. It was orange and sticky last time we looked in there. So I think tyre blowing up.
I think that's the next step.
Next step, right, marvellous. Right, so, and we do have a genuine original mid-80s, late 90s Volkswagen battery, which we are assuming is most likely not going to be any good. We will keep it, because it's quite a cool thing to have, and then we've got to try and get the battery clamp out. And we'll chuck a new Varta, newish Varta one on it. But that's all just knocked off the wall. Hey, little socket. I don't want to lose that, they always disappear. Oh, we've got some toothpaste on there, haven't we? That's a pill. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not saying a word. Don't come in my camera shot with your gloves on, really, man. They're always telling me off for that. Oh, my gloves will die. And I was like, I haven't died yet. I'll just die young. Be fine. I think I'm actually too old to die young these days. It's Billy Connolly, wasn't it? Too old to die young. It's like a short store or something.
Interesting to see if that battery does actually work.
I reckon we'll take. To be honest, I've had them come back to life before.
Really?
It depends, because what they do, they sulfate in the bottom.
Yeah.
Block themselves up. There's a few exciting ways of freeing them off, and let's see if it's got any acid and deionized water left in it. We'll have a look, because it is.
Oh, it is.
serviceable,
Yeah. It'd be quite nice to get the original battery in.
Yeah. I just said a minute ago. I think we'll it wants hanging on to, but whether you
Yeah.
can get it to come back to life again. I think turning up at a Volkswagen show and putting a Duff battery in so it looks right. It's one of those things that's going to be a bit too serious, isn't it? Oh, look, I've got the original battery. Car won't start now, and I've changed it over before I go, yeah. Right. Now, hopefully this Varta one might be some good. Oh. Right. Well, it fits in there. That's a start.
Yeah, I thought I saw a crack in it.
Yeah, so we tightened it up. No one will know.
That's right.
Completely cat cars today, not being able to use a spanner. Yeah, that's got it right. Fire test. No, can't see any smoke.
No.
No, that's good. That's good. Probably because this battery's completely flat. I'll pick them all one up, but we'll find out in a minute. Right, all we need to do now is stop raining so we can push it outside.
Yeah.
Then. I suppose we ought to do the sensible, so I'm sure we checked the oil last time, but...
Oh, I think we might have done. Yeah,
Yeah.
shouldn't we?
Well, we haven't got hardly any on there.
Oh, okay. Maybe we do.
Well, I thought we did.
Yeah.
I can't see it's leaked it. Well, it hasn't leaked
Definitely
it out,
hasn't
though.
leaked
Leaked it out on the
out,
floor. Oh, the dipstick's not pushed in properly.
Oh, that could be. Yeah.
No,
Right.
we have got just a bit on the bottom. Haven't got any oil.
I've got some more.
You got some more?
Yeah.
Anything will do.
Anything,
Better,
yeah.
anything better than nothing. Let's see if it comes off a bit on the lipstick. I'll not pour it all over there. It's quite dry in there, so I think you want to wang it over a bit.
Yeah.
Try and
Lubricate.
get some oil up and round before we attempt throwing fuel at it. It's gonna tacker and rattle quite a bit in it. Not probably I would if you hadn't have made me move since 1992.
Yeah, pretty sure that's the last time he actually used it.
Christ, how old was I in 1992? 13? Yeah? Because it would only have been, what, 10 years old?
Yeah.
That's a strange thing to do, paint it and
I
then...
know. Like I say, it must have just been. I know he wanted to make it look more modern.
Yeah, or let me say, unless he bought it like it, but...
Could have done.
I
Yeah.
don't know, a lot of logbooks he when he purchased
Yeah, no,
it.
she never said. His sister never told me that if he did the work or not.
Not? Yeah.
Just that he used to use it to go to school because he was a teacher. Is it still not on there?
We're
Oh, it's
just on the bottom of the dipstick. I reckon by the time that settles down, that will do.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's one of those things where you're going to want to start it and run
Yeah.
it for a bit and change it anyway, isn't
Absolutely.
it? So, put that back on there. And what we will do, even though we did it before, is wang it round and just make sure the cam belt does look respectable enough
Yeah.
to. We haven't got any big chunks missing. I don't think we have. We've still got the writing on it.
Really? Wow.
It's done. I wonder if it says Volkswagen, whether it's the
I
original.
can't imagine.
50,000, I mean, it would have
Yeah,
been
53,000.
it's done on. So it might not. God Christ, would that be a 19? What year is this car?
80.
80 V. Something like that. TV. So she's 79, 80.
Yeah.
Got a 1979 cam belt.
Ooh.
Oh, that's all right. It isn't even cracked, unbelievably.
Wow. Probably made of something like. I don't know.
Like, there are numbers on it.
Wow.
Well, that's a full revolution, so we're definitely free. There are no big horrible lumps hanging off a cam belt. All we need to do is wait for it to stop raining and push it outside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so the branded cunning plan. Now, obviously, this car has got K-tronic injection on, obviously, an extra injector on the end there to give it like a choke ability. So mechanical, and it's supplied by a high-pressure fuel pump, electric one, which is tucked under the back driver's side corner of the car. Now, we've already had a look in the fuel tank. I'll go back in there in a bit, and you can have a look. Months ago, and the fuel tank is just full of rust and slime and nastiness. So I don't want to cut into any of this here because, to be honest, these are fixed nylon lines with covers on them. But at the back of the car, I mean, obviously that you've got a high pressure feed in coming into this control head through a fuel filter, and then you've got a low pressure return. So you've got two steel lines here running back to the back driver's side corner of the car where the pump is. Now the pump has got rubber Jubilee clipped on fuel lines from it to the steel lines. So my grand and cunning plan is to use this here separate high pressure fuel pump, 12 volt electric, and I'm going to basically cut the lines off of the original C-step pump, which are pretty bad anyway and would need replacing, and then basically put this high pressure pump and then another length of hose, we'll run it out of a bucket to give it a flow and return, and then I can basically pump fuel round with a long lead to the battery. So what I'm going to do in a minute is I'll take you with me under the back corner of the car, show you what I'm planning on doing, and then we'll disconnect these fuel lines, the original car fuel lines, so that if they need to be run very plumb once the tank's been removed, cleaned or replaced, that's easy, so we haven't ruined anything, and then we can pump some fuel around this system. Then we can go on checking, seeing if we've got a spark and seeing if there's a possibility that it will run. Plan. Right, so I lie under here. You'll see what I mean. So there, in that armoured case, is the original fuel pump. And these are the steel lines going right to the front of the car. Now ideally, I think when this vehicle comes to a point of, they could do with a bit of love. I mean, they don't actually, I think it is mainly surface rust rather than pitting. And then, up in there, you'll see the electric fuel pump and the Jubilee connections onto them. So what I'm going to do is remove these lines by, I've started already pinging these clips off so I can bend them down this way, cut them off there, and then we'll quickly unplumb this fuel pump so it doesn't hurt anything. And because the tank is horrible, and obviously to get the tank out on this is the exhaust off, all those straps out would be a nightmare. So for a minute we're going to make it run by just replacing it with another electric fuel pump. Right, here goes. Right, so basically what I've managed to do is I've got the soft line off the pump. Now sadly the other one returning to the filter was actually hard line, so I've actually, with Colin's permission, cut it off, because to be honest the fuel line going up in here, as you can see, is really quite rusty. So if this car is going on the road, these are going to need replacing. So we haven't really damaged anything because it's going to need doing. Now I've managed to quickly, I've just cut the knackered rubber mount that was hanging the front of the fuel pump there, because he also cotton reel will want replacing, lowered the case down and removed the wiring off of the pump. So that's the electric supply coming from the car. So in theory, if we join up to these, if there's power here, we're going to put a pressurised line here, a piece of line here as a return, and in theory then, as long as we've got power coming to these two wires, a positive and negative, we have a fuel system. Basically, you see what I've done. We've got remote high pressure fuel pump plumbed in line onto the car's high pressure fuel line. We've got some exciting wiring just twisted up over here and shielded. This is the car's fuel pump supply, and then we've got a short length of rubber hose to allow us to return. So technically this is now our new fuel tank. Look at that, posh, eh? This is our return line, this is our pump. So what we're going to try and do now is check, one, it turns over before we try and supply it with fuel. Two, this should in theory make noise if there's an electric supply coming to the original pump at the back. But we're not going to chuck it in here straight away, because what I don't want to do, I want to turn over on it a bit first to try and get some oil around the engine, obviously because the cam's going to be really dry and it hasn't turned over in years. Right, Karen, so if we turn the ignition on, we have dash lightage, we've got a degree of winkerage, so we've actually got electric to the car, but we've got no noise out of the car's, or the new electric fuel pump. So what me and Colin are reckoning is, it's on the old type rollable blade fuses, so I would have thought when this had a battery put on it last time, the pump was C-solid, what it probably did was fuse any fuse running the pump straight out. So we're going to lean under that side of the dash a minute, roll the fuses and check them for all the car's supplies, and then hopefully we can get power feed back here and that pump should burst into life. That's the plan. You can lean your head under the dash and roll fuses, can you? Do you want a proper torch?
Yeah, have you got
I got a proper. You can have me proper torch. Yeah. I've got the ignition on. You wiggle things. You got any gone? I bet it's got a funny little glass cover over it, isn't it? Yeah. Even the clock's going round here. Look at that. All good.
That one made a noise.
We still haven't got any whirring coming from down here, but that doesn't necessarily mean we can always run the pump straight to a jump pack otherwise. Yeah. We've definitely got dash live. We've got no, when the windscreen wipers aren't doing anything, not that that's a worry. Did the Tommy 2 knob come alive? Oh yes,
Yeah.
Look at that. The screen doesn't work. Rubbish.
Right.
Off that front one. Oh, it does.
Does it?
It was nice, last tuned to 93.8 FM, whatever that was.
Oh.
I can't hear.
There's one fuse that's not one at the turn.
None of them have popped.
No. Oh, there we go. It's turning now.
So we've got no power supply to the... Did that just come alive then?
It
Didn't it? That's mad. Comes alive for a second and then goes off again.
Oh yeah.
What that is. Ooh.
Right, that's all those fuses rolled.
And none of them are blown. All 4 speakers are working. Even the weird ones in the boot. We'll have to find a tape in a minute, aren't we?
Yeah. Can't remember if there's one in there, but I think there is.
That's running longer. Right, let's put a separate power supply to this pump a minute, and then we'll see if we get any life out of it, I think.
Yeah.
Sounds like a stunning plan to me. Right, so what we're going to try now is we're just going to char on the key a bit and see. We've got an oil light down here, obviously, and we're going to wang it over just because it hasn't been turned over in years. We know it turns over. See if we can get the oil light to wind out. Right, so we've got a battery pack hooked up to an electric fuel pump. Immediately, we haven't tried for any description of spark or anything. We cranked it over to make sure the oil's lifted around the engine. So I suppose,
Moment of truth, isn't it?
well, it's either, if it fires, we know it's got a spark. If it doesn't do anything, then we've either got injector problems, control head problems, and spark problems. But it might
got a
just,
whole list of things.
we got a whole list of things. We check the antifreeze, we check the oil. It might crack straight off. It's a Volkswagen. They keep doing this,
They
don't
do.
they?
They
Yes.
do. Yeah, I have faith.
Yes, yeah, after the last little red one. Right, I'm going to crank on this bit here and see
Okay.
what happens, alright?
Yeah.
Right, my fuel pump, my throttle panel doesn't seem to want to move.
Oh, okay.
And it does move and then it didn't move back again. So, it's that one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that voltage button, I didn't want to.
Ah.
That's right, that's fine. So, that's it, so you can see, isn't it? So sure we've got a spark. Yeah, we could be all proper, couldn't we?
Yeah.
What's the motor on? Oh, it's got a set point. Right. I think we should ring the points to be
Yeah.
professional. Have
Yeah.
you? We can flash in, can't we?
Yeah.
Pom pom pom. See if the coil's any good. Right, screwdriver.
I love the smell of old cars.
Ah, smell of stale petrol.
Yes.
Nastiness.
Fantastic.
Yeah, now those points do look pretty faired up actually. There's no spark leaking across there. because a big lump of green mould just fell out of it. I think we'll go and turn the ignition off. If you can find me a bit of sandpaper,
Oh,
I'm sure you can find that. Yeah, honestly, like half a ton of green jack just fell off of that.
Ugh.
Honestly,
Bit of
it's
Emily cloth.
a bit of Emily cloth, perfect.
Bought that from the Dorset Steam Fair.
Yeah. God, brand new in a minute, isn't it?
Yeah, aye.
Yeah, that might explain why the oil might go empty. Of course, the wires fell off.
Oh, well, there we go.
Well, that's gone then. Definitely should be a pushed on sensor,
Yeah.
isn't it? Just drop testing the road wrong.
Straight down the
Yeah,
drain.
it's fine, it's fine. Good.
At least it float.
Yeah, we're about another 2 hours fishing it out. So, where do you reckon? I thought there's an oil pressure sensor at temperature, and then that's oil there, isn't it? So you've got one there, and you've obviously got something. That must be oil temperature for the little gauge in the car. I don't think it was an oil temperature gauge, was it?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, not I noticed. Right.
Yeah, no.
No, that's all for. Oh, he's ways to fall.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Collar is cool, isn't it? Have you got one of those lighty circuit tester screwdriver things?
Oh, I don't think I have, no.
Like of anything that tests current? No.
No, I don't think I
No.
have.
Oh, really? God Christ.
No.
So just see if we have got power to a coil. I mean, someone's put one of those quality. You can always try seeing if it arcs out, admittedly, but.
Do you know what? I have got one, but it's definitely not here.
Right, we'll go for cranking on it again and see if it fires.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's got to have a spark this time, isn't it? Right. Fuel supply's turned on. I think we've got to have to check to see if we've actually got a spark by putting the spark plug, haven't we? Stop being lazy. Put your muscles in.
Oh, there we go. Cool, look at that.
That is welded in there, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't think that's been taken out for a long time.
Oh, well, that's one way to find out, isn't it? By finding the wrong size plug spanner first off, that's always a good start.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's in there. Have you got a can of wood?
Have a look.
GC85? That'll do.
It smells nicer than wood,
Damn, it's a bit of a doff around here on everything. I think everything's a bit seized up, isn't it? Including
Yeah, that is.
the throttle linkage, because that didn't really want to move earlier, did it? Don't really want that sticking mind open.
No, especially with the exhaust made
Yeah, that can make life quite exciting. So I don't know what happened to the middle of the exhaust, but it's definitely no longer there.
Scary a little bit.
It's not actually very tight.
No,
It's making horrible noises, but she's coming. It's Ali head.
Yeah.
Obviously, 30 years worth of corrosion, 31 years worth of corrosion.
That scary moment you pull out, is it going to be loads of like
No.
thread on there? No, that's good, it's good.
Good.
Wow.
I reckon we've probably got a car-based electrical issue here.
Yeah.
It's a Volkswagen engine, they're supposed to start straight up
Well,
after 25
exactly,
minutes, you know.
yeah. If it was a diesel, it would have done.
Well, that little van.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
think we even got 3 revolutions
I
out of
know.
that, did we? Right, do you want to crank on the ignition and see if you can electrocute me?
Really?
Yeah. No, nothing. Right, more points cleaning. definitely did flash then, didn't
Yeah. Do you know, I trod on that fox poo a minute ago.
Yeah.
Where I've got sandals, I've actually trod on my big toe. And
Oh.
Fox poo on my big toe.
Oh.
I've looked at it a couple of times and I saw
Well,
that.
you do insist on wearing sandals and shorts. I must admit, my missus always moans at me. She keeps buying me flip flops, and I'm like,
See, I like wearing them, especially in the summertime.
no, see, I don't know. It's the flip floppy bit I can't be dealing with. I mean, like, you can never lose my wife because you can hear her coming along behind going flip flop, flip flop, flip flop, flip flop, flip flop. And they've bought me about 5 pairs now, and I keep hiding them and refusing to wear them.
Brilliant.
Right, so we chuck the ignition back on again,
Yeah, let's
and then
try
see
that.
if we can get a flash across these points.
Right, John.
Yeah, that's it. I'm collapsing the field now.
Nice.
Right, let's put this cap back on. I'm excited we cleaned a bit of the alternators off.
Yeah.
Ability to electrocute me. Right, fire away.
Ready?
Whoa! Yeah,
Sparks.
we have definitely
Three.
got a spark now, right. I don't know whether we got any fuel or not.
I mean, there is a chance that the lines are all blocked.
I was thinking it might be worth cracking her off up here.
Yeah, see if
Set the pump going and seeing if we we've actually got any fuel coming out of a 30-year-old fuel filter. Must have been full of cack and nastiness for, well, 30 years, 31 years.
Yeah. It's a long, long time. Isn't it?
Yeah, we might have to shorten the lines and put straight with the K-tronic up here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did have something that vaguely resembled fuel come out of the end of the.
Okay, so that's a good sign.
Well, it's still liquid.
Yeah.
Out of the return line, so. Size to be right. Is this going to be a 17 or a 19? Let's just bring both.
Yeah.
And knowing the Germans, it would be an 18.
I reckon that's a 17.
No, trouble is you're doing it on camera now, so if
Yeah,
it's wrong,
so now, mate, yeah.
you're never going to live it down. But you are right.
Yeah.
Dear. See, he's not going to want to. No. Well, this is going to be a 19. See, we've actually got fuel.
Problem in an aluminium filter. Ooh. Lights off, it's off. Oh, we've got fuelage coming out.
Do you want to flick the battery pack on to 12 volts and just see if we get any petrol spurts out of there? You can turn it on 24 if you want, but it'll come out really, really fast.
Ready?
Go on then. Ain't a lot coming out up here.
No. Right, it's off again.
Right, hang on. This is assuming we've got things pressurised the right way, reckon.
Yeah.
Let's try this one.
Oh, I can smell the nastiness.
I reckon I'm pressurising the return.
Ah.
That may explain why. Just do it again, could you?
Yep. Ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Off.
Marvellous. Right. Have a pipe swap round. It's the low pressure return, so I've got them the wrong way round.
Ah.
Shoot the mechanic because he's an idiot. Oh, there'll be a million Volkswagen purists shouting at me in this second. That man's a buffoon and doesn't know what he's doing because he's a diesel mechanic.
Diesel mechanic.
To
But
be honest,
bloody good one at that.
yeah, possibly. Don't go make me feel too big-headed. Right, I'm going to go swap these feeds around. So, quality. Right, get charring on this thing and see if anything happens because we cleaned all the spark plugs.
Right, we ready?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to turn the...
Ah, well, no, we turn the fuel on, wouldn't it? That would be a good idea. It's a good job you're on it, isn't it?
Right,
Right, so that might work better.
let's try it again.
Let's try, yeah, actually injecting something this time. Right, let it rest a minute. Let's just use my fuel head reconditioning tool that I've got in my hand here. Just to see we are, because it's firing on one, isn't it?
Yeah.
we'll have another go, and then if that doesn't work, we'll try and undo the injector lines, but that could be a bit exciting gore for it. I'm not sure we've got... Right, we're going to see if there's anything coming out of this control board. Playing with perhaps all the cigarette you got as well. Is there anything coming out of here? Give it a whiz over again a minute, fella. Nothing coming out of any of those injection lines. So, why is that? Just turn that pump, the ignition off for a minute. I wonder if we've got anything coming through this fuel filter. Whether that's gacked itself up, sort of.
Could, yeah.
Could have done, couldn't it? Two spanners I had earlier. I probably wandered off.
Down it.
Somewhere.
There you go.
Got petrol there. So what we've probably got is fuel control load seized up. See what shears off and what doesn't. That's the fuel. Oh, we've got fuels there, look.
Ooh, okay.
That's the injector. You just flick that pump on, literally just give it a flash a second, because that runs up to the extra fuel injector on the end, which is just a mechanical sprayer. Go on, leave it on a minute, we'll blow some fuel through it. Yeah, alright, we've got pressure there.
Oh, that's really yellowy and horrible.
Oh, yeah. So we've got tons up here. I wonder that fuel line's full of cack.
Yeah.
We've got like stupid amounts here. Look.
Yeah, there you go. Satin, isn't it? It's got to be.
Got to be. Alright, we let that run for a little minute.
Yeah.
And that fuel pump's absolutely full of snot.
Yeah.
Try that.
It's close, isn't it?
It's close. I think we're going to have another go another day, you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's part of a back bloke, isn't it? Well, we tried, so we reckon we're going to have to drag it to mine, probably strip the injection system, clean it properly, and then there's a it's almost wet, didn't it?
Almost
but
wet.
I think he's only firing.
I thought it was going to go at one point.
Like,
but
yeah, I think he's
yeah.
only firing on one injection line, which
it's
is
close. It's really close.
So sadly,
Yeah.
and you're going to hate us, it's going to be a two-parter, isn't it? It's going to have to be, because it's like 8 o'clock on a Sunday night now, isn't it?
Yeah, running out of time, running out of light.
So,
But it will go.
it will go.
Yeah,
I think
it
it
just
will.
needs a bit more love.
Yeah, we're going to need some fuel system. I think it's only fuel system. It's got
Yeah.
spark, it's got compression, and it's trying. So anyway, Al, 60 diesels, bearded explorer. We're going for second time lucky. Hopefully not third. Catch you next week.